Oh, so I multitask, right? Especially whenever I'm doing oil changes. I hardly ever like sit around and wait for it to be done and ready for me to put the drain plug in and have the filter on and all that. But really, the first step I recommend for anybody, open the hood. Why? Some people like, oh, even get really critical or whatever. Any repair you do, disconnect the battery. Well, if you want to do that, that's okay. It's like, it's just an oil change, but anyways. First step really should be open the hood. I mean, even for you best attention people that only do one thing at a time, or best multitaskers that never forget anything, you lift the hood, you remember you need to add oil. Guess what? It happens. People have done an oil change, everything's great, plugs in, filters on great, and then forgot to put oil in, and you started out. No problem right away, maybe you don't even realize. Well, the oil light's going to be on probably if it works, and if you have a gauge, it's going to say something's wrong too, and if you have a computer, it's going to be like, hey, something's wrong here, probably, or at least some type of indicator saying something's wrong, most likely. But it's not a good idea to start an engine without oil. It's kind of like staying up for 30 days. Is it a good idea? Staying up without sleeping for 30 days? I don't think that would be a good idea, right? Especially you just stay up for 30 days, you don't eat. That'd be even worse, right? You don't eat and you don't drink. But anyways, jokes aside, you lift up your hood, you remember you need to add oil, most likely. Or you really got some attention problems. You really need to focus on what you're doing and maybe one thing at a time, or like have something like a computer or Alexa or whatever tell you, do the next step, do the next step, do the next step. Lifting up the hood is a big, smart step to ensure you're treating your vehicle or whatever vehicle you're doing the best. Anything I've said, really, if I've said what you need to do, I bet there's better. But some of the things, especially threading your filter and threading your plug is, I can't say enough about it. And also, you're asking for problems if you're using vice grips on a plug that's in great condition like that, or channel locks, even a box end wrench. If you're really good with a box end wrench, okay, fine. Especially if it has the socket type box end wrench, fine. Fine. Good. Good for you, But really, I prefer a socket. I usually, also, another thing you might prefer better, especially if you have one of those more tightened drain plugs, is a breaker bar. A breaker bar is like this. Almost everything I do, except maybe lug nuts for tires and stuff, I use a breaker bar. Because if you're untightening something too fast, you can cause your threads to go bad. You can cause your head of where your box end, like the end of the bolt to go bad. There's a breaker bar. That's a breaker bar. This is a 1/2-inch breaker bar. I prefer a 1/2-inch breaker bar about that size, because then I can throw, if I need more leverage, not this wrench because it's too small, but I can throw another wrench that's a little bigger on there, and then I can get more leverage by doing that. See how it's on there? I'm doing that. If I have one size bigger, this is a 5/8, I believe. If I had a 17 millimeter, or what's the next? I think 11/16. Then great. So yeah, pulling off your drain plug. Maybe you prefer a breaker bar. Fine. I really highly suggest don't tighten with the breaker bar though. Unless you're really, really paying attention and you're really, really good at doing oil changes, don't use the breaker bar because tendency to be you can over tighten it. The more leverage you have, the easier it is to move something, right? That's what I was just showing with that wrench. The more leverage you're using to tighten it, the more tight it's going to be, the more difficult it's going to be, the more likely you're going to either damage your threads, which is terrible, the worst thing, or you might damage the head. And then you got to use vice grips or replace your plug or really it's just too much. Don't do it. Avoid vice grips. I know vice grips are great in crisis situations like a bad plug, but try and avoid it. That's my advice. These are all my advices. What I might have said, what you should do is just my advice to you, really. Please consider that. And so this is, here we go. We're gonna do it well this time, okay? Even though my hands are still dirty. This is RV, and not so much. Here, upside down. Trailing Venus. Because we're upside down, right? Upside down, backwards. Whatever it takes to do the job right. You know? Be careful if you're doing it your own way. Maybe it's a better way than doing it the manufacturer way or whatever popular way. But be very careful, especially the first time. It might be the very wrong way. You know? Grabbing a vice grips for oil change most times is a wrong way. Channel lock, wrong way. Pipe wrench, wrong way. Don't do it unless you have to, is my suggestion. I'm sorry, I keep repeating myself. I do that. Anyways, the birds are coming around. I'm walking around here, standing too much in the same place and walking over here and there and all that too much and not focusing. And they're all like, would you just stop scaring us so they can go eat it? There's also not only bird food over on the corner over there. Oh, see, there was a bird right on top of there. I don't know if you saw it. It was right above the ladder there. That's an awesome ladder. That's Home Depot. Amazon. They're eating off the top of the roof. I put it on top of the roof first, and then later I'm going to not have it on top of the roof because I want them to eat from the feeder. But they need to know I'm back. This is the third time. I don't know what I'm going to name the farm yet. It deserves a name, definitely. The first time I stayed here was the chickens and the dogs, and that was about 2-3 months, I think, maybe 4 at the most. Some heavy rains. I've seen heavy rains. I'm from Hawaii, and it's like I've been around. I've seen heavy rains. When it rains in Arizona, in this area, Ash Fork, it rains. It can rain. Just like Flagstaff, I've seen Flagstaff. I've seen lightning. I thought it, like I had, oh, there goes another bird. They're up there. They're up there. Let's catch some bird footage. Are they up there? They're hiding. They're making like, no, we're not here. I don't see them. So yeah, there's a little bit trailing Venus again. And yeah, it rains here. And then the second time I came back more prepared. I did ducks, and it just takes a lot to start this project. I mean, I love Venus, and she has problems, more problems than I thought she was supposed to have when I got her, as well as Trailing Venus. But the farm, it doesn't have problems, really. It's just anything that's not unexpected, like common sense. It rains here in Ash Fork. It can rain really, really hard. Flooding. We're talking really flooding. I've seen where that road right there is like almost a stream. Dang close. If you consider like 2-3 inches of water, it's not a noticeably flowing stream, but it was going. And things like water and power, it's not easy. It's very difficult. For me, it was. So, yeah, I left the second time, and now this is the last try I'm going to give this place. I love this place. Mostly down there. You can kind of maybe see some white objects. Here, I'll give you a little shot. There's some stuff maybe down there. You might see. I can't focus right now. My hands are still dirty, and I don't want to get it more on anything else that I haven't gotten it on than I have. So, yeah, this is the future for Trailing Venus and Venus. Trailing Venus is probably actually going to become mostly my home and a place possibly for others to be staying at. Venus, of course, is going to be multi-purpose. As soon as possible, I need Venus to be more multi-purpose than having the farm going. Venus is going to be, I'm pulling that door off, putting a bigger door, 4-foot door. You'll see. That's the plan. I was going to pull the passenger door off, and there's special features I'm going to be doing with that. Yeah, Trailing Venus is coming first, but I will show features of the farm, and I will be naming it. It's probably going to be something Venus, because this is the home of Venus, right? This is the home of Venus and Trailing Venus and Biking Venus. This is a awesome bike. Alright, this is my third electric bike or so. The birds are like, get away from our food. When I'm talking, they want to talk, and then when I don't want to talk, that's when. Yeah, that's over there. They're over there. This is a Costco blessing. Yeah, it's like my third or fourth electric bike. I think the best one for street riding and whatnot for me was the first one. I forget, it was Lance or something like that. This one I love for this type of environment where I'm going mudding and got wide tires. The other one had skinny tires, and I forget about the last one I had. This one has slower acceleration whenever I give it full throttle or full assistance mode. It folds. You can see the folding right there. Anyways, yeah, really, really, really nice. So, okay, yeah. I don't want to push this much more. I think we're around 45 minutes now. It's like 3 videos. So, that's a little bit of things.